Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Marshall here, bringing you a 1 vs 1 on Planetary Annihilation from Ranked between B13 and Diskraip. We've been seeing a lot of Discs games lately. Let's see how he does against B13. Representing Russia in pink. These commanders will be spawning in very soon indeed. Don't ask me how I went from Yorkshire to Russia to back to Yorkshire to Russia again. I don't understand it myself. And that's not really the question we should be asking. The question we should really be asking is, where the devil are these commanders? Well, while we wait for that, let's have a look around the map. This is Riptide. Our commanders spawn on the poles at these 4 mechs as a cluster away from the shore. So your choice then is how many naval factories and air factories do you get here before migrating and trying to take over the land. And there are a few other features there as well, and we'll discuss those in a moment. So let's have a look then at Diskraip. Up here, going for naval first. He hasn't set up the rest of his queue yet. Meanwhile, on the southern side, down here, now we've gone completely different. Let's go and have a look, shall we? We've got B13 in red with a single fab, maybe 2. I don't think you get more than 2 for naval start. Might be wrong. Going for an air second into air third, naval fourth. And Diskraip also going for a second naval fab there by the looks of things. And of course piranhas are also quite powerful to have early game because the rating. Okay, 3 fabs each. Alrighty, well, you learned something new today, folks. 3 fabs is the way to go for naval if you have a reasonable amount of mechs to power them. But any more than that, and you'll probably be struggling. And that is why we see piranhas coming out here, these gunboats. Now, if I zoom out, and you'll see these icons have this little weird sort of row of squares on the bottom that juts out a bit. If you see that on a naval icon, it means that they are essentially hover units. They go on top of the water, which means that when you get into regions like this on this map, this sort of brown water shallows, if you will, only these type of units can go on them, because things like orcas, submarines, etc. go far below the surface and just have too much depth. They're too deep on the draft, as it were, I think, is the term. I might be wrong, I'm not exactly a nautical expert. He says naughtily. But that does mean, of course, that if we have a look around this map while air is sort of going around, we see this big old naval playground here with scattered mechs, etc., as you would expect. A couple of proxies may be going up. Generally, just sort of a tug of war over here. But then over here, we've got some concentrations of mechs. This island here with loads of mechs on it. Going to be one to play for. And then you get further in here on this island, and you've got loads of coastal metal, which can be heavily contested and raided by these piranhas, and that's by design. This whole area is the sort of piranha playground, if you will. You can see here, this piranha's trying to block off this entrance. I've shown you the range there of the piranha. Meanwhile over here, there's a little fabricator, a little fabber that could manage to squeeze past, and is just getting some mechs over there. Meanwhile, the piranha coming in to raid. Let's have a look at the rest of the build orders, though, while it does that and gets shot down by the defensive piranha times 3. So, Diskraip here, getting a little raided there, bringing back his fabs. He's gone for, again, naval into 2 air, and is sitting his commander. Is that idle or is that assisting? It's assisting an air factory. Interesting. Usually having your commander doing that sort of thing is unwise, as is having an undefended naval fab, but then again Diskraip has lost out of the air game, so there's not a lot that he can do to protect this fabricator as these Icarus come in and snipe him off. Whoa! In comes the air, but it's too late. The fabber goes down, the bombers are over here safe and sound away from prying air, and B13 is expanding in other directions as you would see fit. Moving to the peninsula here, setting up a bot factory, going to contest the land here. Neither commander yet migrating to the continent. Typically when this map was first released, you saw a lot of players migrating there. And instead, what do we... B13 Looks like he's migrating to the island instead. That or the shallows. These couple of choke points could be really powerful if you can get a commander in there. Let's just put it that way. Meanwhile, there are a few barracudas, barracuda submarines, wandering around with this piranha. Diskraip there, making sure that he's not going to get too raided any longer. He's learnt his lesson, or has he? There's still a couple of piranhas over here. There's still a few bombers to deal with those. The Orca comes back to deal with those quite nicely. There we go. Their trade there, undesirable. 4B13, Diskraip's air fab gets taken down. Nothing for you today, sir. B13 is now making a base on this island with a capstone of a vehicle factory and then queuing up a naval factory on the other side. The greed here is astounding. Diskraip, though, struggling a little bit in the eco. He's much more of a slow burn sort of player as Diskraip. He's not a rapid expander. Which is quite interesting to see the difference here, because B13 is expanding all over the shop. This family seems to be having issues with that one, probably because it can't reach the tree to reclaim. But, you know, he's expanding in so many different directions, getting so many fabs. Fab account there 7 to 1 rather. Factories are 7 to 5. But Diskraip is just much more of a slow burn. Much more of a slow burn. But I feel like he has to do something, otherwise the snowball will start rolling, especially on a naval map like this, with areas that can be so easily denied to you in your expansion. And he's only losing his bombers time and again. He's not managing to keep them. He says as he manages to keep them. Shall I? Yeah, that's best. E13, though, realising that Diskraip is not doing anything, and so gets out some air fabs. How often do you see this? Air fabs in your own base doing things, but he's struggling for power, so air fabs building power is not exactly wise, because air fabs use the most power to work. Naval to and fro happening over there. And B13 setting up on the coast of this island. It is his. He has claimed it. This is no one else's island, and yet his fabber here still goes uncontested. Unbelievable. What's Diskraip's commander doing? He's going for walkies as well. Could have some proper focusing down there, and micro. B13 probably could have taken out those naval vessels as they came out of the factory, but instead focusing down that factory, lost him that naval army as a result. Where's he moving his commander to? The island or the continent? Looks like the island. And the thing is, there's a lot of orcas here, and orcas can do a lot of damage to a commander, and this commander's very in the open. Doesn't have any torpedo launchers. And you see here, the orcas just struggling in those shallows. If I go down, you'll see the draft. Just too shallow for them to really do anything there. Whoa, hello. Journey to the centre of the earth with Marshall. 13 realises the moves is coming away. This. Oh dear. Yeah, don't sit your air over the top of someone's commander. They are very good anti-air units. B13 is getting loads and loads of grenadiers on land, but are they going to help him? Not really, because Diskraip hasn't done anything on land. Oops. Here we go. This drifter's trying to sort of drift against the orcas here. That's not going to work. But Diskraip's commander, masquerading in red, moving onto the island now, supported by all the orcas. They could come around the side here, actually. Because if you look at the topology of this mountain, if I disable these icons briefly, you'll see that that whole side is visible from the coast. And here we go, B13 preparing for a combox. Whose island is this? We're about to find out. But these orcas, look, are trying to box in B13's commander. They're trying to get some shots off. Certainly killing off the power line, but definitely trying to cut off B13's commander, who is very much offside here. B13, even if he can dent away at Diskraip's base here, which he has been doing, Diskraip senses a commander kill. Problem is, Diskraip is significantly lower than B13 here. Not exactly where he wants to be. Orcas surround this island now. Disk has to lure B13 towards the shore. Otherwise he can't make use of these orcas, and this is going to be a problem. But there are so many walls here that B13 isn't actually getting any shots off anymore. There we go. A few starting to hit now. The Great Equalizer seems to have semi-occurred. Diskraip gets the Uber Cannon shot, tries to retreat. Back behind his walls here. Sees more drifters coming off the production line. B13 still trying to walk around those walls. Ring a Roses mode activated. I don't know, B13's base is getting wrecked by... What? Is anything happening elsewhere on the planet other than this comm duel right now? I don't think so. Using each other's walls at this point. A little bit of a bug here. This one is the purple one, closest one to us. Here we come with some piranhas in here. Disk using everything to chip away to give himself just that little bit of an advantage. Spam walls, panic walls from B13. Is it going to be enough? Diskraip there down to 23%. B13 29. B13 is just in the lead here, and more Uber Cannons like that will keep B13 in that lead. B13 at the top of the hill. He has the high ground. And Diskraip needs to back up, but he's stuck on B13's walls. And he's gone. What a weird game. What a weird game. I mean, I suppose Diskraip felt like he was forced into that. Let's go back. Because way back here when he started moving his comm... Where did he start moving his comm? Right. Let's have a look at his decision when he just about moved his comm. Right. State of play for him. He's losing out on mechs, and let's see what he can see of the battlefield here. He sees big old navy coming in, although that's air that he can see rather than navy. He sees loads of air. He sees subs coming in. He sees ground on the island. I wonder if he saw the commander there actually with that orca. It's possible. Don't know if he did. He sees something on that island and realizes, uh-oh, I have to go and test this. So he sees that. He sends his air over. Then he sees the commander right there. And he doesn't linger his air over the commander because he knows, like I said earlier, he knows that the commander is a powerful anti-air weapon and he only has a couple of bombers there. He's not really going to do any damage to that commander with that small air force. What else does he know about the map? He knows that he has a few mechs here. He doesn't know that B13 has expanded into this cove. He doesn't know that B13 has expanded anywhere, really. Diskraip has, you know, he knew so little about this game. He barely scouted. I feel like he must have played something wrong somewhere. He certainly didn't come onto the continent. He didn't contest any of this, which hampered his ability to produce things. Look at the factory count at this point, 8 to 5. 103 eco to 89. Incroyable, as they say. Let's have a look. Let's see where the early Fabber snipes happened, if any. 2 Fabs over to the side. Aggressive down to the middle. Not what you would expect on this map. Normally, your early Fabs would want to get in here, where there's a greater density of metal, so that any defences that you put up are much more cost effective. And then the Piranhas chased down. The Piranhas knocked him back a couple of mechs straight away. He managed to keep the Fabs, but that slowed his momentum down greatly. He had the Fab over here, which of course we saw get sniped by the Icarus. And he didn't bother doing anything else. Well, it all ended with a duel of the fates, if you will. High ground versus the panic walls. Kaboom. Yes. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed. Fucking Marshall. Please don't forget to, you know, do that YouTubey stuff, dropping a like and commenting and everything like that. It really supports me, helps me out. I've been seeing my numbers grow much more recently since you guys have been participating and interacting more. So thank you so much for that. And keep telling your friends about this stuff if you think they'll enjoy it. Until next time, though, I've been Marshall. Have a good one.